Manchester United versus Manchester City in the Premier League match preview. It is a massive derby, and what a game! What a game to look out for, and what a game to bounce back into in regards to the disappointment we had over the weekday, right? This is my predicted lineup. We're gonna go through my predicted lineup. We're gonna do an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer press conference reaction as well. And also some stats, head-to-head match stats between Man United and Manchester City. But this is the lineup I'm gonna go for. You know, I think the $1 million question, I think everyone's gonna be discussing in their video is whether Paul Pogba should start or not. For me, he shouldn't start. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care how good he is. He should not be starting. If he's starting, he's going to be undermining a lot of and allowing a lot of these players to do the same thing and get away with it, right? So I'm just not going to say much about it. But I went for a 4-3-3, as you can see. Telles, Lindelof, Maguire, Bissaka. I don't expect them to change anytime soon. Obviously, there was murmurs going around that you know, Henderson should start. There was apparently dressing room unrest that in the latest Man United news, you can say that people, you know, certain players want Henderson to start over David De Gea. I don't think that's even possible. I don't think David De Gea was at fault for most of the goals over the weekday. I think David De Gea will start. Midfield, I went for a three-prone midfield. Obviously, Bruno Fernandes normally likes to go forward. I went for the Fred and McTominay just to protect sort of our back four. They are the runners. Fred was suspended over the weekday in the Champions League, so he will be fresh. McTominay, I think he will start. He's had a fantastic game last time he played against Man City, scoring that wonderful goal, I remember. Bruno Fernandes, the man of the hour, obviously. Up front, it's a bit interesting. I was going to put Cavani in there, but Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, in his press conference, did come out and say that maybe it's not going to be, you know, the case. We need to look at his fitness, etc., etc. But Martial is going to take part in the game. So Rashford, Martial, and Greenwood. I went for Greenwood because there's literally nobody else on the right side. I was tempted to put Mata in, but maybe Mata is the type of player that might come on to unlock the defense later on if we need the goal. This is my predicted lineup. Let me know your thoughts, guys. Do get commenting. I do enjoy reading the comments. I do enjoy replying back to them. So I really appreciate if you can. But anyway, let's move on to the table. So here is what the table looks like right now. So Manchester United, Manchester United and Man City have both played 10 games apiece. Obviously, one game less than a lot of the Premier League clubs. We are 1 point ahead of them, albeit we have an inferior goal difference than them. We have won the last 4 Premier League games. We are in a very good run of form. In the last 5 games, we've only lost once, whereas Man City, in the last 5 games, they've drawn once and lost once. So they're not in the best of forms right now. And a win for us will further, it's a massive game, will further solidify our sort of advance towards the top 4, especially going into the festive period. I had big lunch and I'm feeling a bit bloated. Sorry, guys. But a loss for us, which can happen, will mean we will drop and potentially drop quite far, because the rest of the teams around us, you can see Everton, Wolves, West Ham, they're only like 2 points behind us. So it is a massive game, and it needs to be a massive game, especially after what happened on the weekday. For me personally, I feel comfortable we're going to win the game. We always perform well against Man City or any other big clubs, so-called big clubs in the Premier League, because the way that we set up is on the counter. And we see Man City will definitely have a lot of the ball. We know that. They're going to press high and we will simply counter them. It's the formula. Pep might have learned, might not have learned, we do not know. But looking at the head-to-head stats, last time Man City beat Manchester United, right, in the Premier League was in April 2019, so over a year and a half ago, where we lost 2-0 in the Premier League, at home as well. Last couple of games, if you include the League Cup, we've beaten them twice without conceding any goal, and we did a classic counter-attacking football style of play, right? But this season is a bit different, right? In the sense that this season, we are so poor at home. Like, we're not comfortable at home at all, right? And that could be our undoing. And with certain things that is going on in the background, in regards to Paul Pogba and etc., it has destabilized, in my opinion, a club, or at least kind of taken a bit of attention away, whereas the whole team should be focused on the games in hand, right? So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference reaction. Let's read what he has had to say. In regards to, obviously, he was asked in regards to the Tuesday night defeat to Leipzig. He said, "Of course, we are disappointed on Tuesday night. It's natural. We really wanted to go through. We have to move on. It was a tight group, decided by fine margins. After that, the focus has been good. Fine margins. Why? It's probably the best game you can ask for after such a disappointment, because it does stick in the system. Yes, it is a best game, because if we get a good result against Man City, then you can say a little bit of the attention will be taken away by the fact that we have been knocked out of Champions League." In regards to Martial and Cavani, he said Anthony will definitely be involved. Edison has been on the grass, but I'll make a decision later on. So he hasn't confirmed that. He also briefly talked about Paul Pogba's situation. He said, "I speak to my players on a daily basis. Paul is no different to anyone else. For me, that what was disappointing this week was us going out in the Champions League. Players wanted to go through in that. Whatever anyone's representatives say can't really affect me. I've said what I want to say about that." There we go. And in terms of David De Gea, he went on to say, "I think David is a top goalkeeper. Of course, I do. Rightly so. He's on list for being on the best goalkeepers in Europe. I agree. He's handled criticism before. He's handled setbacks before. He's a man we really rely on. And hopefully he's not affected by criticism, and I don't think he will be, because every goal a goalkeeper considers, you'd be disappointed with him." And it's not just about David De Gea. It's about the players in front of him. It's about the two centre-backs in front of him. And I feel the two centre-backs in front of him, they might be a good quality defender, whatever you guys want to say, but they don't complement each other. That's the most important thing. They do not complement each other, because they're both slow, which means we have to defend deep, as we're gonna get runners behind our defense, and that's what happens. But defending deep in this particular game will work probably, in my opinion, because we're gonna look to hit them on the counter attack for sure. So obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said we're getting better and better in regards to recent results. Let's see what he had to say. "I feel we're getting better and better, looking more and more like a United team I want, with fast attackers. We're dynamic, we've got good players, we've got individual players who can create magic out of nothing. That's always good at United. The consistency that everyone says we don't have, of course we've won the last 4 games in the league, which is starting to become a good run, and hopefully we can carry on doing that. I hope it's the case. On the lessons learned that we've learned, any small mistakes will get punished. We were very close to going through in a great group. That shows for me a team that has been come forward." Oh my god. "That has moved forward from drawing with Rochdale and barely beating Colchester." Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, do not mention the likes of Rochdale, Burnley, Colchester versus the likes of Leipzig, a Champions League semi-finalist, PSG, a Champions League finalist, boasting some of the best players in world football right now. That is not progress. That is day and night. That is day and night. You know, Rochdale beating Rochdale, Colchester, whatever you talked about. I don't agree with that statement there, right? You have to turn around and say, we've come far from beating the likes of Sevilla or, you know, PSG. We haven't. The fact that we are out, do not compare elite clubs of barely getting. Mind you, you lost against Istanbul, right? We lost against Istanbul, who was such an inferior club. So, you know, they balance out. But do not compare elite clubs with the likes of, with respect, Rochdale and Colchester, just to kind of add a bit of spin of positivity to it. I know you're trying to add positivity, but you're making yourself look stupid. And that's not the first time he has done that in a press conference, in my opinion. We know that Solskjaer is not probably the best person to be doing press conferences, because some of the shit he says is absolutely cringeworthy, right? Now, I'm not pointing out the fact that I'm all in or out. This is not about that. It's about what he said. It's not, don't bring anything of that in. It's not about that, right? So there we go. In my opinion, I predict that we're gonna win 1-0. I think it's gonna be a close game. I think Man City will have a lot of the ball as expected. They will push further forward, but we're gonna hit them on the counter attack. I think players will want to win this game, especially after Champions League defeat and the Champions League knockout, the midweek knockout. I think players will actually push for the result, in my opinion. But ultimately, yes, it's going to be a good result in the league form. That will mean if we end up winning against Man City, we would have won 5 games on the trot. Ultimately, it will mean that we're still out of the Champions League and Premier League. Are we going to win the Premier League? I don't think so. It's gonna be more of like a top 4 push, in my opinion. I hope I'm wrong. I hope eventually in a couple of months down the line we see like, hang on, we can win the Premier League here because this season's a bit different and we should be taking advantage of that. But we are so inconsistent at the moment. Our home form is not the best at the moment. We all know that. And Man City are kind of had a very good last few games, Man City. And they're starting to hit their stride a little bit. And they will know that they are below us in the table. They're under heavy pressure. So they themselves will try to get a bit of a victory to continue their momentum. Look, it's going to be a tough game. I don't think it's going to be a massively different game. We're not going to see like a 3-0 scoreline, 4-1 scoreline, or 3-1 scoreline. It's going to be a very tight game because this result means so much to both the clubs and both the managers. Somewhat, you can say both the managers are under fire at the moment, under scrutiny for sure. So that's my opinion on the game. I think it's going to be a good game, but I think we're going to win 1-0 because we seem to do it against Man City all the time or any of the big Premier League clubs anyway. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know what is your scoreline, and let's put a chapter. Let's close the chapter on the Champions League and move on. Let's not reel on it anymore. It is what it is. Take care and stay farafari.